Welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. So what does food mean to you? Well, join me this week as my special guests are Alina Serbina. She is a travel expert, and she's going to help us with some tips for stress-free holiday travel. And Kim Shapira, who is going to help us with some tips on how to eat healthy during the holidays. Thanksgiving is coming up, so these are all great tips and advice for us. So today we're talking about two things that really go hand in hand during this time of the year: Thanksgiving foods and holiday travel. Thanksgiving is a time for gratitude, family, and of course, it's a feast that leaves us all in a type of a food coma sometimes. From the golden brown turkey to the creamy mashed potatoes and the tangy cranberry sauce and the sweet pumpkin pie. And I can't forget that lasagna that many Italian families have also during Thanksgiving. Each dish, well, let's not forget the unsung heroes of the Thanksgiving table, those unique family recipes that have been passed down through generations, whether it's Aunt Martha's famous green bean casserole or Grandpa Joe's secret stuffing recipe or Nana's lasagna. These dishes bring a sense of nostalgia and warmth to our hearts. Now, as we savor these delicious meals, many of us are also gearing up for the great holiday migration. Yes, I am talking about holiday travel. Whether you're hitting the road to visit family or catching a flight to a winter wonderland, travel during the holidays can be both exciting and stressful. But fear not, with a little planning and a lot of patience, you can navigate the busiest travel season like a pro. Remember to pack light, stay hydrated, and keep those holiday playlists ready to keep your spirits high. So as you gather around the table this Thanksgiving, take a moment to appreciate the flavors, the laughter, and the love that fills your home. And if you're traveling, may your journey be safe, your heart be light, and your holiday season be filled with joy. Stay with me for my next two interviews to help us get through the holidays. And just a quick reminder before we get to those interviews, don't forget to look for my holiday guides. There's about 10 of those posted now at the marialiberattishow.com. I've been busy looking for some unique and really interesting products for your holiday table and or for gifts as well. Just check out the marialiberattishow.com and look for the holiday guides, and I'll be talking about them at the end of the show. So stay with me for the interviews. Discover the timeless secrets of Italian cuisine with the Basic Art of Italian Cooking series by Maria Liberati. That's me. From fragrant basil to silky olive oil, each page is a culinary masterpiece. Taste the passion, embrace the tradition, and create your own masterpieces in the kitchen with my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking. Buon appetito, and you can find the books on Amazon.com, Kindle, on marialiberatti.com, and on the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com. And my special guest today is Alina Serbina, and she's her social media handle is Go Where You Please. She's an expert in Gen Z travel, and the holidays are here, and holiday travel can be so stressful. So I've invited her on to give us some tips on how to make it less stressful. Alina, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to talk about holiday travel.
Uh-huh.
This is something I do every year around Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those
Uh-huh.
happen to be my big trips, and I do them sometimes within the US, other times international ones. Last year, my boyfriend and I decided to go on a 10-day trip all the way from New York to Thailand and back, which is
Uh-huh.
really quick, but we were
Wow.
able to make it go off without a hitch.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's all thanks to the systems that I now have in place from
Uh-huh.
just traveling so much. So I'm really
Oh yeah.
happy to share the tips that I have on this.
Wow, yes. So you went from New York to Thailand during the holidays?
Yep.
Wow. Wow, that was great. Yes, I've traveled to Europe during the holidays, so I know sometimes it can be stressful, but anyway, that's really a lot, definitely a lot farther. So tell us some tips on traveling. Like, are there any special days that you should think of traveling on instead of the holiday day or like a couple days before or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely varies with people's schedule. It really
Mhm.
just depends. I'm actually usually flying out at what people deem to be the least convenient time, just because I'm trying to maximize my travel.
Right.
But with that being said, I make sure to give us enough time between any layovers, any transitions you have to make. Just
Uh-huh.
having that buffer point, I feel like is the most helpful thing to plan for, especially for connections. You just never know when a delay might come up or a cancellation. So I think for just anticipating things like that, you're in a much better spot because you can at least have some time to recover as opposed to things being back to back. So that's
Right.
what I always try to have in our itinerary when I'm planning the trip.
That's a good idea, definitely. I like the way you said like a buffer type of thing. And you're in the airport, there's usually lots of little stores around and eating places you can and it's the holidays, so just kind of have fun if there's I've experienced everything, cancellations and having to sleep at airports during the holidays and all that, but yeah, you can make it work out. So, any other tips on making it less stressful?
Yeah, absolutely. You were talking about, the airport and having to sit there sometimes.
Yes.
I do not, I'm not working with any specific travel credit card, but
Uh-huh.
I feel like my travel lifestyle really became a lot more elevated and relaxed once
Uh-huh.
I did get a travel credit card because some of my cards will cover delays, lost bags, just unforeseen circumstances. And
Uh-huh.
knowing that I'm covered by my card gives
Uh-huh.
me so much peace of mind. There's been times where that delay does happen. And at least I know that I can find the nearest hotel where I will feel safe at because sometimes I do travel solo as well. And that's really important for me as a solo female traveler to find
Yes.
a place I actually feel safe staying at. And then
Exactly.
knowing that my travel credit card will then approve that claim later, as long
Uh-huh.
as it's obviously within the terms and stuff. You
Yes.
have to make sure to know those things when you make those decisions. But
Yes.
I do think having that system helps me be more prepared and feel a lot more relaxed
Uh-huh.
because I know, even if my bag got lost, if my card is going to reimburse me for some clothes, that already makes me feel so much better in
Uh-huh.
a stressful situation.
Yes, exactly. That's a great idea to get a travel credit card. And you're absolutely right. Definitely. That sounds like that definitely helps with any unforeseen things also, definitely.
And then
And
also with
uh-huh.
travel credit cards, you also sometimes have lounge access, and some of
I was
them might
just going
give
to
you.
talk about. Go ahead,
Yeah,
yes.
some might give you a pass or two, others give you a full membership, but I
Uh-huh.
do think having those in the case of a delay also really helps. I've also had certain lounge staff be able to help me directly as opposed to having to wait in like the super long lines. I mean, each
Right.
airline operates slightly differently, but
Uh-huh.
if it is a lounge of the airline especially, then you might be able to weigh into using that perk as well. So
Uh-huh.
just doing your research. And then again, I can't believe I traveled that long without lounges. When you do 50 flights a year at the least, the lounges really add up very quick.
They they do, they do. I know I had traveled without them, and then with having access to them, it does really help, especially if you get delays and or cancellations and things like that as well. any specific places maybe to avoid during for, holiday travel or
I think it's all about how you plan, honestly.
uh-huh,
Obviously, certain destinations do tend to have more of a crowd during, holiday travel. A lot of people like to get away somewhere warm. That means the resorts tend to be close to capacity, but it's all about your preference. If you're someone that is looking to be off the grid, obviously that's something for you to consider, but I know other people and I know my family. I have a younger brother. They love knowing that if we'll come to a resort, there'll be other kids there. I'm a
uh-huh,
little bit too old to entertain him fully at this point. We
uh-huh,
have a big age gap. So I do think it really just depends on your personal preference. And just talk to the people that you're traveling as well. Make sure that all of your needs and wants are being met so that no arguments or disagreements arise once you're there. Because, you can't help that all the warm
right,
spots tend to be more crowded when it's cold. It's not a surprise. I hate the cold myself. So I'm
right.
definitely one of those people that usually try to get away. So,
Yes,
yeah.
to a warm spot. What about traveling? Because I've done this sometimes to actually sometimes I had gotten better deals if I travel on a holiday. So like traveling on Christmas Day or something like that. What about traveling on the actual day? That's, obviously then you're missing some of that day, but there may be some other perks within that.
No, that's a great point. I actually just booked a trip for my boyfriend and I to Colombia
Uh-huh.
for the Christmas break between the 24th and the 31st. So we are literally traveling Christmas Eve, and
Right.
that is actually why we ended up booking the trip
Uh-huh.
is it was a points redemption. So I
Mm-hmm.
was able to find like a 10,000 point flight
Wow.
to Cartagena, Colombia, and it
Uh-huh.
was only available on the 24th. So
Yes.
if you go a day later, a day earlier, it was jumping all the way up. But this
Uh-huh.
one was super low, so we were able to take advantage of that low price, which was
Right.
great. But I think the big consideration is it's great that you're able to save on the flight,
Right.
but the hotels might have a different idea in mind. So
Yes, that's true.
those prices still tend to stay pretty high. So it really just depends if you're looking to save and what areas you're looking to save in. We do a
Exactly.
lot of points and miles travel. So
Uh-huh.
thankfully, we were able to get our hotel fully on points as well. So
Uh-huh.
for us, it's a pretty affordable trip, I would say overall.
Oh,
But
that's
I understand that, that's not for everyone. So
right. But that's a great
to each their
idea,
own.
the idea of the points too, because everyone doesn't always take advantage of that. So be really aware of, points that you can get using certain credit cards and really make good use of the points because I know so many people that do use them for hotel stays and flights and just so many things. So points are really important. But yes, I've done that. I've flown on like different holiday days and gotten some really great deals if I'm willing, if I was willing to do that. So and sometimes it's less crowded because not a lot of people
Yes,
want, right?
absolutely.
Not a lot of people want to travel on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, so sometimes you get less crowds also. So that's great. Any other parting tips for our audience? We're almost out of time. Any other tips?
I would just say create a Google Doc to keep track of your itinerary and make sure
Yeah.
you share that with your direct family as well. I think
Uh-huh.
it's super helpful for everyone to have an idea of where you'll be staying, what your flights are. It'll be good for your reference as well, especially if you're doing a lot of activities. I love just pulling up my doc and knowing exactly what I have happening. And
Uh-huh.
then my family's not worried about me either, which again, as someone that does go solo a fair amount, safety is a big concern. So
Definitely.
I love that I could just share that with them. And then not only do I have peace of mind, but they get the peace of
They get
mind
the
too.
peace of mind too. That's great. That's a great idea. Yes, because you could share that with your family and friends. Everybody can kind of check in and see where you're at too. That's great. All great tips. So, Alina, it's go where you please on
Yes.
Instagram. Is that correct?
And
Okay.
TikTok. I do post on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube as well now. So
Okay. Oh, okay, that's great. So yes, and we'll put that on the blog for the marialiberati.show.com. We'll put that at Go Where You Please so people know where to find you. Thank you so much for sharing tips, and hopefully we'll have you back in the near future for some more travel tips.
Awesome. I'd love to be back, and it was great
Yes,
talking with you tonight.
you too. Thanks so much, Alina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Join me on a mouth-watering journey through Italy with my Gourmand World Award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, which brings you authentic recipes, heartwarming stories, and a dash of Mediterranean magic. Whether you're a seasoned chef or a beginner, these books will awaken your inner food artist. Get ready to say ciao to delicious adventures. And you can find the Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, at Amazon.com on Kindle and on marialiberati.com and the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com. And my special guest today is Kim Shapira, and she is a dietitian and author, and she's going to give us some tips for, I guess, eating correctly during or kind of staying on track during the holidays. I know that's such that it's really a hard thing to do for everyone, but it probably isn't as hard, if you know some tips, and maybe Kim can help us. Kim, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I think the story we tell ourselves complicates it and we keep that story going, right? So I feel like if we could just even take a deep breath and recognize like these holidays, there's food, but it's not about the food. And we need to be eating just like on any other day. If we can treat food just as normal and not sensationalize it, then
Exactly.
I think we're going to do a lot better. So, like a couple pieces. One, do not sensationalize food. And
Mhm.
two, don't just think the holidays are about the food,
Right.
is really important, right?
Exactly. Yes, and I know so many people do. And I guess it's all about too, like they wait till the holidays and then it's like they just think they're going to just gorge themselves on all this stuff. And
Yeah, but you
yes,
make a good point. Like even the word gorge or they wait,
yes,
right? Like
yes.
any single time we restrict,
Hmm.
we're gonna binge. That's our human nature. Anytime we restrict, we're going to binge. And so, what if this holiday we did not restrict?
Right.
Then there's this fear that I'm going to overeat. I have no, control. And that's not the truth because if we can start looking at Thanksgiving, which is a Thursday,
Hmm.
as a Thursday, and there's a bunch of gatherings that we get to be with people we love. Maybe some of those people give us anxiety, and my emotions are going to be all over the place. If we can come back to being hungry when we eat,
Uh-huh.
then we're going to be great. And so if on Thursday, that's Thanksgiving, I don't eat all day, I'm restricting. And there's just no doubt in my mind that I will overeat that meal because our survival is at risk and we're going to be almost animalistic. But if we can eat throughout the day on Thursday and be hungry for every single time we eat, we're winning.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
And
Good.
and then if we could, like, I use six simple rules to kind of coach my clients, but if you can
Yes.
think about taking your normal portion when you eat and cutting it in half
Hmm.
and being mindful when you eat, like smelling your food, chewing your food, really enjoying the food that you say you love, be present with it while you're eating it. It takes about 15 minutes for that hormone leptin to kind of say, oh, you're actually satisfied, which is a real bummer because you haven't even gotten to the other half of your food and the pies.
Right.
But what if you put space between, your meal and the pies? Or what if you only ate as much as you needed now, trusting you were going to have more again in 3 hours? Or
Hmm.
you could have the same meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner the next day.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would be really helpful, right? Then we wouldn't feel so restrictive.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. And you still get to enjoy that, but you've spaced
Yes.
it out so you're not you're not overeating. Absolutely. That's absolutely right. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the goal. And, if we tend to eat a little bit more than we need, our bodies are so efficient
Uh-huh.
that it will make up for our mistakes. And by like allowing and trusting our body to make up for our mistake really means not eating again until I feel hungry, right?
Uh-huh.
Trusting my body to really tell me what it needs and when it needs it.
Exactly. That's a
But
great,
there's an emotional component, right? Like if this meal is stressing me out or the people around me are stressing me out,
yes.
to recognize I don't need food because I'm stressed. I don't need a drink because I'm stressed. I
Right.
need to take deep breaths. I need to go for a walk. I
Hmm.
need food when I'm hungry, not because I'm not feeling well.
Exactly. No, that's definitely great because I think that's really important. People do overcompensate for emotions and they just use food, as you said, but that's great. Take a walk outside, do something that keeps your mind occupied to
Yeah.
get your mind off of the food. Definitely.
And
Definitely.
also take a doggy bag, right? Like make sure you have
Yes,
a to-go bag so you can have it again tomorrow or the next day. And so you really don't feel like you're missing out. There's
exactly.
something that makes your mind feel very safe knowing you're going to have more.
Exactly. And I mean, really, everybody knows that if you overeat, it doesn't make you feel that great. So
Right.
that's a great way to space out the food, still be able to still enjoy it. And, with a doggy bag, and you can have um, a little bit, a little bit for the next day. Like you said, breakfast,
Yeah.
lunch, dinner, and you get to space out all that stuff. So you
Yeah.
can still get to have that. Yeah.
Yeah. What I recommend for Thanksgiving is because there's so many different varieties of foods,
Hmm.
is to take a small dollop of everything.
Uh-huh.
I mean, obviously, if you don't like something, don't put it on your plate. But if you were curious or you do like it, take a small dollop, and then, like, let's say it's mashed potatoes. You can have that could be one spoonful, or I'm wondering if you can even allow yourself to make that 3 or 4 spoonfuls.
Uh-huh.
Like, doesn't matter on the size that you're actually putting in your mouth. That would be interesting. And
Yes.
then after you finish your small dollops of all the things that you wanted to try and eat,
Uh-huh.
wait about 15 minutes from that first bite, and then come back to your body and see if you're hungry for anything else.
Huh?
And if you are, then only go back for the things that you loved
Uh-huh.
and also take a small dollop. But again, making sure that you're going to take some to go home. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great idea. And it's the funny thing is that in Italy, people think people eat these gigantic portions of everything. They have these meals that are many courses, but they're actually little dollops of things. So you
Yes.
may have 10 courses, but it's not a gigantic bowl full of spaghetti and meatballs. It might be a little forkful of
Yeah.
spaghetti for one course. And, so that's
Right.
actually right. That's actually the way that, the traditional way of eating there.
Yeah.
And that's the healthier way of eating. It's just what you said. What about like salads, if people can, because salads really fill you up. So, but obviously there's non-healthy stuff that you can put on your salad.
Yeah.
What about kind of trying to eat like a bigger salad to get a little filled up on something that's not as a lot of calories? Is that
Yeah, no, I don't love labeling food as good, bad, healthy, or unhealthy in general.
uh-huh,
And I really love when people eat what they love as long as the food doesn't make them sick.
right,
And I can appreciate that you'd want to have the vegetables and they should be part of your meal. I mean, they really are responsible for all the antioxidants and fighting free radicals and preventing so many diseases. Like we
right,
need to make sure they're part of our meal for sure.
yes, uh-huh,
But not, I had a conversation with someone earlier who was saying I was so stressed I needed a glass of wine. The glass of wine should not be to help you get through stress. The salad should not be to help you get through the meal.
yes, the
And a
meal,
lot of people will even eat when they're not hungry
uh-huh,
because they have fear of missing out, or, they don't know when they're going to have it again, so to speak. And
Yes.
there's something about being totally full at Thanksgiving, and then somebody says, I have pumpkin pie, and all of a sudden we have room for it, right?
Yes,
And that
yes.
is scientifically proven that we do now have room for something because it tastes completely different. So I wouldn't worry about trying to fill up on one versus another. It's
Huh?
not about hunger or satiety. If it was, it is for me, but for so many people, it's not. I
Mhm.
would like it to be. I would like people to concentrate on, I don't need a big salad. I may need some salad. I may
Uh-huh.
need some vegetables.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I'm like really hardcore.
Definitely. But no, I think the base of what you had said as far as like just getting a dollop of things, thinking about taking doggy bags home so you can space out what you eat. I think the other thing, and you mentioned it a little, is that, people are like, wow, it's Thanksgiving. I'm not going to get this food any other day of the
Yeah.
year. So like they want to eat and eat and eat, but they can space it out, just as you said, is
Yeah.
having a dollop and then taking some home and spacing it out the next day,
Yeah.
for
And the truth is, we can have Thanksgiving dinner any night of the week.
any night of the week. Exactly. It's not as I think things used to be a while ago. Now you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. You can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. So
great.
feeling safe in that piece is really important.
Exactly. Kim, we're almost out of time. Can you tell everybody where to find you? And also, wait, tell them the name of your book. I forgot.
Yes. My book is called This Is What You're Really Hungry For,
Uh-huh.
and it's available wherever books are sold. And you can find me on all the socials at Kim Shapira Method.
Great. That's great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully we'll have you back in the near future.
Would love it.
Help
Thank you
us through our eating.
so much. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show, and thanks to my special guests, and also, as always, my producer, Britton Roselle, for another great episode. And before I get into some other things, I just want to wish everyone a happy and healthy and delicious Thanksgiving. And I have been mentioning my holiday guides. There's about 10 or more up there at the marialiberattishow.com, and you can see all of the products that I have been discovering, unique and really interesting products for your holiday table, products you may want to try out that you may not have heard of, or products that you may want to also give as a gift during the holidays. They make wonderful Christmas gifts also. So one of the first products I did want to mention, because I want to give a shout out to some of the products. I've given a shout out to this product, but my dogs just love it. It's the bluetoby.com. It's an orthopedically superior designed bed for your dog, and my dogs just love theirs. And they also have blankets and something called a nap noodle that they can rest their heads on while they're on their bluetoby.com bed. Check it out. If you go to my Instagram account at Maria Liberati, you will see some video of my dogs on their Bluetoby bed. And if you go to bluetoby.com and get a bed, if you use the code Maria, M-A-R-I-A, you'll get a special discount with that. And some of the other products, Hide and Scent is a great interactive game that you can play with your dog. We all like to spend time with our dog, so check out Hide and Scent. Dignity Raw Coconut Oil, that is. So it's Dignity Raw Coconut Oil. It's a high quality coconut oil. And let's see, we also have bootleg bath shower steamers. You can check those out. Baby foot exfoliation foot peel. It's a great way to give yourself a home pedicure. And Clean Cult cleaning products. They are wonderful. They're all natural clean cold. And you can find out more about these products at the marialiberatishow.com. You'll see all the different products on all the holiday guides. I have many holiday guides and many more coming up, so keep an eye out because I'll be doing these holiday guides throughout the month of November, which we're almost through, and December. And as always, you can find me, as just mentioned, at the marialiberatishow.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Maria Liberati, on Pinterest at Maria Liberati, on Twitter at at Maria Liberati, on Facebook at Chef Maria Liberati, on our YouTube channel called The Maria Liberati Show, on Vimeo. You can find videos, some of my cooking show videos at, on Vimeo, it's Maria Liberati. That's where you'll find my shows. And as always, you can find my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, on Amazon, on Kindle, on Barnes & Noble, and the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com, and anywhere books are sold. And if you can't find the books, just email us at info@marialiberati.com and we'll make sure you can get a copy of the books. And until next time, again, happy and healthy Thanksgiving, and peace, love, and pasta.